Morning, boys and girls. Welcome to another behind-the-scenes 360 tour at Advent Health Celebration. And we are in probably one of the most exciting places for me, because I love this stuff.
Me too.
And a place that you probably would not have ever thought about that supports a hospital, and that's with food.
Yes.
You have to feed the thousands and thousands of people that come here, and we're going to take a look at some additional careers here in food nutrition at Advent Health. So I'm going to kick it over to Erin to introduce our guest today.
Thank you so much, Chris. So you can tell students it's really loud, so I'm almost screaming so that you can hear me. So I hope that you can hear me. But you have to remember that a hospital is a city, and they have to be a working city because they don't stop. They never stop. Every day they are here 24/7. So in a city, right, you have to have places that people eat. And then nutrition is so important to patients' health. Everything has to be planned out for every single patient. We're starting today with my friend Teresa, and Teresa's going to talk to you about what she does here in this department and a little bit about her career path here. Teresa, tell me about yourself.
Hello, everyone. So,
Doesn't matter.
okay, I'm Teresa, and I'm the Senior Manager of Nutritional Services. So basically, we monitor to make sure, we keep our patients safe, our employees safe, make sure we meet budget, making sure we have an engaged team. So basically, I've been in nutritional service and healthcare for over about 30 years.
Wow, that's a long time. So
Yes.
30 is a long time. So how did you actually start?
So when I got out of high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I just applied at a hospital. And I started out, I'm from Michigan, so University of Michigan Hospital, cleaning operating rooms. And I did that for a couple months and I was like, ooh, this is not for me. So I applied I love food, right? And food is a passion. And I love interacting with people. So I thought, well, let's try nutritional service.
Yeah.
So I started out as a server, serving our patients, and then I got promoted to a cook. And then throughout the years, I got promoted to a supervisor, a manager, and now a senior manager.
Great. So tell me about that role as a server. So I'm a server and I work in a hospital. What is my responsibility? What do I do?
So basically, what we do is we want to make sure our patients order food that they want to eat. So we actually go up to the patient's room, we take their order on an iPad, and then we come down, we assemble the tray, and then we go up and deliver the tray. So we do that for 12 hours, in a day, for everything.
Yeah, so I guess that was a big blender over there going
Yes.
while you were talking. But so I think what I heard you say is that you actually go into the patient's room
Yeah.
and make sure that if they have choices in what they can eat,
Absolutely.
you're able to get what they want and then come down here and place the order for it to be delivered.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so did you continue your training through additional schooling, or is it something you trained on the job?
Actually, I did not go to school. I actually trained with, we had a sous chef. So I actually worked with a sous chef, and he helped me, mentored me, and then I had to take a cooking test, and I had to break down recipes. So after I took that test, I passed, and so then they promoted me to a cook, and then I just
Kept on going from there.
So even with being a chef, there's like certifications and things that you have to do, and tests that you have to pass.
Correct. An actual chef, yes, you do have to have certification, but I'm a good cook. But
There is a difference between a chef and a cook?
yeah.
What's the difference?
So a chef, like executive chef, is the one that runs the kitchen, creates recipes and the menu, and so they have
further training in order
yeah,
to do
it's
that.
a 2-year degree.
So you went from cook and decided to go managerial.
Yeah.
So supervisor.
Yeah.
Actually running the shop.
Yeah.
And so you continued your training that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's fascinating, Teresa. There is so much going on here. So how many people are working right now?
We have about 38 people right now.
And then how many people do you feed a day?
We average about 650 meals a day.
Woo! Say that again.
650 meals.
650 meals, so that's in times 3 throughout the entire
Well,
day.
that's for the whole day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of
it's funny in the story, right? I mean, we believe that God have a purpose and a plan always. So I started working in food industry back in like 2000, 1999, back in Puerto Rico, where I'm from. I worked over there in a restaurant. It was a family restaurant for 13 years, and after that, my wife have a job offer here in Florida, so we moved here, and I started working for Hilton. So over there, I spent 3 years as a supervisor, and then from Hilton, I received a call from Florida Hospital back on the day. I'm in healthcare now, and I joined the team here. I went to work in headquarters for corporate in the cafeteria over there, and then moved to Sanitation as a retail manager.
And so that path, jumping from your own restaurant in Puerto Rico to working for tourism, right?
Yeah.
Hospitality, tourism in the food industry, and then jumping into healthcare.
Yeah.
Is there something about your job now as a manager that all those experiences helped you?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything that I learned from the past built to whatever I'm right now, right? I mean, all that knowledge that when I started working back in 2000 or 1999, I just started as a bosser, right? So cleaning tables, putting water to tables, and then I worked my work up until I became an assistant manager, and then from assistant manager, I became a restaurant manager, and then I became the GM for the hotel and the restaurant that I used to work over there. And then I moved here, and the same thing. I started as a server in Hilton, right? And then from server, I became a supervisor for in-room dining. And then here, when I started here working in headquarters, I started as a supervisor also in the cafeteria. And then after, I think it was like 2 years, I moved to a manager.
And during that time, were you looking, did you ever go back to school and get training? Are you all did education here?
So I done a lot of education here in the company, and then like 3 years ago, I decided to go back to school to finish my bachelor's degree, which I'm done. I just need 4 more classes, and that's it.
That's great.
Which is great, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what will your bachelor's be in?
So it is funny, but in Puerto Rico, I did 2 years of college in one of the universities over there for administration. But then here, I love computers, right? So for some reason, I went to the information technology route.
Right.
I know, right?
William, the smells in here are driving me crazy. I'm selling waffles, I'm selling pizza, you got wood burrito.
Yeah.
Where are we? What is this?
So this is actually the retail services area. This is where we serve our customers when they come here, our patients, family patients, employees, everybody that comes to the hospital, they get served from here. We have a different station here that you mentioned. We have our visit station here. We have our action station where we're making all the food for our customers that is going to be served when we open at 11 o'clock, right? And then here we have a sandwich and deli area. So
you should move the camera over here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
But this grill cook is cooking something really good over here.
Alright, we're going mobile, folks.
Look at that. Looks like you're making a fried rice over there.
fried rice, that's exactly right.
Yep, looks
Yep.
really good.
And then we have some snacks around the cafeteria here, and over there we have a station for smoothies and parfaits. Yep.
So as the operations manager, what things do you have to make sure is done? Do you handle ordering, supplies?
So I have actually, and I want you guys to meet, I have a person who takes care of the inventory and the ordering. I oversee him. I mean, I make sure that we are following our standards and making sure the prices are the right one. And I oversee the menu selection, the recipes, all that kind of stuff I oversee. So I oversee the operation in general in retail area.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's our favor, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, so now I'm with Juan. We're still in the nutrition department, and brought us into this space. Obviously, this space is important for many reasons. Juan, can you tell us a little bit where we are first?
Actually, this is the dry storage for the retail site. We carry everything from sodas, candies, everything, and everything has a label or organized for inspections. And
so there's a lot of storage and supplies that come in and out. Are you responsible for making
yes,
sure
I'm responsible.
that this is...
Make sure that everything is with safety and it's not open or anything, and I have to check the dates and everything.
No expiration dates.
No expiration
so
dates,
you're
exactly.
making sure that the right supplies are here,
Mhm.
that they're able to go out onto the retail space to be able to be sold to
Yeah,
patients
exactly.
and employees. So what was your path? Meaning, how did you get to be in your job here today?
Well, actually, I was the special function chef, and I got promoted to work in the front and retail area. From there, they need somebody to run the whole area. It's purchasing and receiving. So I applied for the position, and I just grow to management position because that's what I'm doing over here, all management and purchase. So I run a lot of companies, U.S. Food, Fresh Point, retails areas, and about that. Yeah,
So you were the connection between all of those vendors that supply all of the food.
exactly.
So that food
It is
chain that
numbers.
comes in here,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're making sure that all that's done. So that's a lot of managerial,
Inventory, yes.
inventory,
Mhm.
Budgeting.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big job. And so, how many days a week do you work?
I work from Monday to Friday.
It's a Monday through Friday job.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From 6 to 2:30.
And did you receive all that training here at Advent Health, or did
Right.
you get schooling outside?
I receive all the training here
Okay.
for other working with Seaboard and all the software that I had to work for, just order stuff from outside the cabinet.
Could you talk a little bit more about the computer skills and the software that you have to run? How much of your day involves using the
Well,
computer?
actually,
and
to
those skills?
run the whole system, I got with one of the management, William. He teach me everything from, I know already how to work in Seaboard, but he give me more specific things to run better the system, because it's a little complicated. If you don't have the skills to do that, it's training. It's a lot of training. Yes.
So computer skills is very important.
Exactly.
To have that
Mhm.
for this particular job.
Exactly.
Great, Juan. Well, do you think that this is a great career path for a student now
Yes.
thinking coming out of high school that they want to come here and work in this
Of
department?
course, yes. It's something that you will grow with the company. It's a lot of opportunity here in the company to grow and become manager, supervisor, so and so.
Great. Well, thank you, Juan, for sharing a
Thank
little
you.
bit about
Thank you
you
guys
and your
for
job.
coming.
Thank you.
We're now in another area of the nutrition department, and I'm with Angie. Angie has a very specialized role and an interesting career path. First off, Angie, tell me a little bit about you, and then tell us about where we are.
My name is Angie. We are in the Celebration Patient Services dish room. Actually, so right now we're seeing behind the scenes of all the cleaning and sanitation that we do for our patients.
So all the cleaning and sanitation happens here. Anything, any food tray, anything that's delivered to a patient, any preparation.
Usually the flow of food usually happens from serving a patient upstairs or customers in the cafeteria. After that, any dirty dishes, pots, utensils usually come through the center part of what our kitchen is, which is our sanitation rooms.
So it's normally the dirty and serve them over here.
Yeah.
And so students, if you turn your camera all the way over there, you can see where the dirty dishes are coming in.
Oh, with the spinning
Yeah,
thing back
spinning
there.
around back there.
Yep.
Yep, and then, this right here.
This is one of our employees. He is in charge of removing the trash from the cafe area.
Great.
And then what he does is we collect all the trays and run them through the dish machine for their sanitation cycle.
And so it comes through this long, and this here, and it sanitizes here. And so it comes out to the end where it's perfectly clean.
Yep.
Is it inspected at this point?
At this point, the machine is inspected. The machine has a very particular temperature and pressure that it has to run to, and that ensures that every dish that goes in through the entrance, almost like a car wash, by the time that it comes to the end, it's going to be clean and sanitized and ready to be used in the operation again.
So is that what this is? It's like a belt that just goes around like that,
Yeah.
and they load it in. What is this huge thing right here?
So that big machine right there is our beautiful Mako dish machine.
Mako dish machine.
So what usually happens is the trays get unloaded right here. That's when we separate our trashes, our recyclables, and our food waste. Then they go into that conveyor belt and they slowly get fed through the dish machine. After that, we do have an employee at the beginning of the machine that loads the machine correctly to make sure that all the dishes are being sanitized in every single surface. Then after that, the machine accepts all the dishes. It runs through a cycle of washing, sanitation, and drying, and then it comes out right here, and that's where we see all these clean dishes and washed dishes right there. Great.
Angie, I have a very important question.
Yes.
What happens? This is a really big machine right here with a lot of moving parts. What happens if this thing breaks down, if it stops working?
So food sanitation is very important for us. So if there's anything that we cannot wash, rinse, and sanitize for our patients upstairs or our cafeteria employees or customers to use, the department comes to a complete standstill. At that point, we do call several techs to come out and correct the machine just to make sure, because we have to kill any type of microorganisms that are living on dishes, especially now in the current situation that we are in.
So there's specialized technicians that work this particular machine that are parents, and they come on site and fix it.
Yeah, usually just a phone call away.
That's great. So how did you get to this very interesting job? So tell us about what your career path has been.
So I'm actually from Puerto Rico, and I came from Puerto Rico, I think it's in 2008. And I started going to high school in Altamont, actually. And right after high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I got a bunch of kind of odd jobs here and there. But what I did find that all of those jobs had something in common, which was dealing with people and dealing with food. So at that point, when I realized I like dealing with people, I like dealing with food, what is something that is going to meet both of those criteria for me? I worked as an assistant manager for a while for a fast food restaurant. Then after that, I worked as a supervisor for Advent Health. And then this is where I'm in the position that I am right now.
So now you have a big responsibility. Do you ensure that everything, once it's clean, you're always expected to make sure that everything is at a level of safety for our patients here, correct?
So my position is regulatory compliance and training specialist with a focus on regulatory, food safety, and microorganisms. So it's a very specialized job,
Very technical job.
very technical job as well. But I love it, and everybody understands that food safety is very important, especially for the population that we serve here in our departments. And this is not the only campus that I visit. I visit actually several different campuses.
Well, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. This has been fascinating to see how you
So, students, we're going to end our conversation here in the nutrition department, talking to Joey and to Walter. And they both have different career paths as well, too, to be working in this department. I want to start with Walter. Walter, can you tell a little bit about what your job role here is at Advent Health Celebration?
Yeah, I'm working over here in the retail department. I'm the supervisor, one of them. I work in the morning and I make sure we do excellent food for the customers. I make sure we attend them with their needs. I help them with the menus and have to know what they need. I also help them in the other area too with the patient food and with the need meal over there.
So how did you get to be in your job? Did you start out in doing supervisor, or did you do something else first?
I actually started over here as a dishwasher years ago. Little by little, I have the opportunity to work different areas and learn every single position, and I become a supervisor.
So you learned everything some of the things that we filmed today, and you worked your way up through training. Did you receive that training on the job, or did you receive training outside of the job?
I worked over almost 20 years in the industry outside for the theme parks. So I have food
services,
beverage, for over 20 years. But when I came over here, I learned all the precision on this side. I learned more of the dietitian area, which is more complicated. So the longer I did that, and then I will go step by step by.
Walter, I have a question, because you said a lot of your experience was from the theme park side, and then when you came into the hospital, what do you think? What is the biggest difference, or are they really the same?
Well, everybody tell me, you working in food service is the same thing, but I don't think so, because team part, when you see somebody in team part, they are in a happy mood, they are ready to have something to eat and keep having fun with the family.
Right.
But here, you really had the opportunity to go to this specific person that he have special needs. They might have parents or a kid, being a patient, and they're coming over here. So when you treat those persons, with the need that they need, and giving a special kind, treatments and attention, you feel different.
Right, and food is medicine, right?
Yeah,
so food is medicine. And so
That's
the whole
my
aspect.
favorite quote: "Let food be thy medicine."
Exactly,
Yeah, so,
exactly. It's an excellent point. Thank you for sharing
It's
that.
really different. Food service has to be nothing with the special care that you can give in one-on-one.
So that brings me to Joey. He mentioned about the dietitian, and so can you tell me? I know that's where your path started.
Sure.
And tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So I'm actually the director of food service for all the Osceola County hospitals under Advent Health. And similar to some of the other stories, it's a winding path. I actually went to school to be a pharmacist. But the whole time I was in school, I worked in food service, bartending, serving, being a waiter. And I took an undergraduate nutrition class and just realized that I loved it. Because the thing I loved about pharmacy was the chemistry and the biology. And when I discovered that dietitians do a lot of similar work, and it's a lot of biology and chemistry, I just really, really fell in love with it, and I moved over. So I went and got my degree, and I worked as a dietitian for many years, working on the floor, seeing patients, helping them change their diets and their lifestyle to overcome conditions like diabetes and heart disease and things like that.
So working with patients who have some chronic diseases, they work hand in hand with a dietitian, and with the whole nursing staff. You're part of that care team for that patient.
A lot of rounds with physicians and nurses, and you just work with everybody. Physical therapy, speech therapy. It really is an interdisciplinary team to get somebody in and out of the hospital.
And how long does it take you to become a dietitian?
It requires an undergraduate and a master's degree, and then all dietitians do at a minimum, it's about a 900-hour internship. So after you graduate, you actually intern with a dietitian and kind of learn the position, and it's a working internship. So you are seeing patients as an intern. We actually have an internship here at Advent Health that we started about 4 years ago. So we take interns because there wasn't one in Central Florida.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your stories and this department. It's really nice to see how everyone here has a different path, and that this is a really great career field for someone to get into.
I really like this because when someone talks about healthcare and medicine, I feel like oftentimes we overlook just how important food is as medicine and healthcare. Especially, Walter, what you were saying, preparing that special meal for someone who really needs that help can definitely go a long way. So thank you both for everything.
Our pleasure.
My pleasure.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next time.